America's silent trillion-dollar arms race isn't happening in Washington or on Wall Street. It's unfolding in hidden megabuildings powering everything you do online. Right now, in states like Virginia, Texas, and Oregon, tech giants are locking horns in a battle for digital dominance that makes the 5G war look like a skirmish. We're talking about an investment frenzy so vast, it's fundamentally rewriting the rules of the U.S. economy. Why are tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Meta pouring more money into data centers than the entire U.S. space program? Consider this. According to the latest Q3 2025 financial disclosures, the collective capital expenditure, CapEx, on cloud infrastructure by the top 4 hyperscalers is projected to hit $250 billion by the end of 2025, a 35% jump from 2024. This isn't just growth, it's a global digital land grab fueled by one word: AI. But these aren't just corporate numbers. These billion-dollar bets have a very real, and often destructive, impact on your life. Did you know that data centers in the Northern Virginia Data Center Alley, the largest concentration globally, are projected to draw enough power to run nearly 4 million U.S. homes by early 2026? This insatiable demand is already sending local power grids into crisis and driving up electricity costs for everyday American consumers. You are paying the bill for the AI revolution. This video exposes how and why the data center boom is changing your wallet, your neighborhood, and the very fabric of U.S. society. We will break down the true cost of this digital infrastructure, from the massive investments by chipmakers like NVIDIA and AMD, whose 2025 revenue forecasts are tied directly to data center build-outs, to the controversial legislative battles over water and land use. Stay with us. The stakes have never been higher. To understand the magnitude of this trillion-dollar race, we first need to define the battlefield. Forget the abstract cloud. Think of a data center as a fortress that holds the entire digital life of America. Your online banking transactions, your daily social media feed, your 8K streaming library, the sensitive medical files of millions, and most critically, the brain of every AI model currently being trained. Visually, these buildings are nothing like your typical office park. They are temperature-controlled, hyper-secure bunkers housing rows upon rows of massive server racks. We're talking about millions of dedicated CPUs, GPUs, and network systems running 24/7. In the past, data centers primarily handled storage. Today, they are high-performance computing factories. As of Q4 2025, the newest hyperscale facilities are being designed not for mere processing, but specifically to house thousands of NVIDIA GH200 Grace Hopper superchips or AMD Instinct MI300X accelerators. This shift means these sites require 5 to 10 times the power density of centers built just 3 years ago. The facility's primary job is simple: process, store, and distribute data at lightning speed, while consuming staggering amounts of electricity and, often, water to prevent the machines from literally melting down. So, we have these hyperdense digital factories operating in secret. But why are they suddenly exploding in size and quantity across the American landscape? The answer lies in the exponential growth of 3 forces that demand this digital infrastructure. That brings us to the core of the boom. The boom isn't accidental. It's driven by an unholy trinity of exponential demand. First, data volume. Global data generation is projected to hit 180 zettabytes in 2025, a staggering figure that requires physical storage and processing capacity far beyond anything we've ever built. Every search query, every TikTok scroll, every online purchase is a physical demand placed on these facilities. Second, cloud migration. U.S. businesses continue to shift from traditional IT to public cloud services, AWS, Azure, GCP. This demands constant expansion from the hyperscalers, ensuring their data centers stay ahead of corporate reliance. But the true multiplier, the force that has turned a boom into a frenzy, is artificial intelligence. Training the next generation of large language models, LLMs, requires unfathomable computational power. Data point, November 16, 2025. The scale of investment is unprecedented. As of Q4 2025, Data from Side Research and leading market analysts confirms that data center transactions in North America alone exceeded $45 billion in 2025, a 20% spike over the previous year's record. This money isn't just buying land. It's buying the world's most advanced chips. Leading the charge are the semiconductor giants. NVIDIA, recognizing the urgency, projected that over 60% of its Q4 2025 data center revenue would come directly from sales to hyperscalers building AI-specific infrastructure. This isn't just selling a product. It's providing the engine for the digital arms race we introduced earlier. This has created the hyperscaler race, where Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are competing to secure land and energy permits for multi-billion-dollar campuses. For example, in key markets like Phoenix, Dallas, and Northern Virginia, demand is so high that new facilities are being 100% pre-leased years before they are even built. The players are betting billions on a single proposition. The company with the most data center capacity, and therefore the most AI potential, will win the next economic decade. But these staggering investments come at a price you are already paying. The price for the AI revolution is not theoretical, it's tangible, and it's showing up on your monthly bills. Data centers are energy gluttons. They run 24/7, consuming massive electricity for processing and equally massive amounts for cooling. The problem? This demand is forcing utility companies across key markets, from North Carolina to Arizona, to delay scheduled power plant retirements, and even to implement rate hikes for residential customers to finance necessary grid upgrades. Data point, November 16, 2025. Recent reports confirm that in Northern Virginia, the average residential electricity rate has increased by 8.5% year-over-year through Q3 2025. While local factors contribute, utility executives cite the extraordinary, unceasing demand from new data center capacity as the primary driver behind the urgency for multi-billion-dollar infrastructure investments, costs that are ultimately passed down to the consumer. The impact doesn't stop at electricity. Consider your neighborhood. Real estate. In areas surrounding data center hotspots, land prices have skyrocketed. Why? Because developers are outbidding residential and commercial projects to secure large, flat tracts of land near fiber optic lines. This indirectly contributes to higher housing costs and increased property taxes for existing residents. Water scarcity. Beyond energy, the data center boom is an acute water crisis. These facilities require millions of gallons of water per day for cooling. In drought-prone states like Arizona and parts of the Southwest, this has created significant political and social friction. Local communities are essentially subsidizing the water usage for the world's most profitable tech companies. This friction is why we're seeing Data Center Alley in Virginia now becoming synonymous with environmental protest and local governance battles. It pits the promise of high-tech jobs against the reality of higher utility bills and scarcer resources for longtime residents. The unseen impact is the realization that America is currently prioritizing computational capacity, the engine for AI, over traditional community infrastructure. It's a stark reflection of our economic priorities. But for all the costs, these centers are also the foundation of America's continued global dominance. For all the localized disruption, we must acknowledge the bigger picture. These data centers are the physical backbone of America's technological superiority. They are not just storage units. They are the engines driving every high-value industry in the U.S. today. If the U.S. wants to maintain its lead over global rivals in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and high-frequency trading, it must possess the most advanced, highest-capacity compute infrastructure in the world. And right now, that infrastructure is the data center. The boom is creating tangible, positive economic effects. A recent study by the Data Center Coalition, DCC, highlighted that the expansion projects approved or underway in the U.S. in 2025 alone are expected to generate over 125,000 indirect and direct jobs across construction, engineering, and highly specialized operational technology sectors. These are high-paying, future-proof roles. States actively courting these projects, like Ohio, Georgia, and Utah, are seeing a massive influx of capital investment, diversifying their economies away from traditional manufacturing and positioning themselves as future digital hubs. This growth feeds into local service economies, even if it creates friction with utility grids. Think about what these centers actually enable. Video streaming and gaming. They are the reason 4K and 8K streaming is seamless and why millions of Americans can play competitive, low-latency online games. Financial resilience. They ensure the security and speed of the U.S. financial system, processing millions of stock trades per second, maintaining America's status as the global financial leader. Healthcare and research. They power the complex simulations needed for drug discovery, medical diagnostics, and advanced genomic research, critical for public health security. In short, data centers are the physical manifestation of American innovation. They represent the ability to process, analyze, and leverage data faster than any other nation. This computational might is now a strategic national asset. But this strategic asset comes with deep political and social controversies that must be addressed. This digital arms race has created a massive political ripple effect. States and counties, eager for billions in investment and high-tech jobs, have historically offered huge tax breaks and subsidies to data center operators. However, as of late 2025, this generosity is facing massive backlash. Critics argue that local citizens are being forced to shoulder the costs, paying higher utility bills and dealing with increased land prices, while the world's most profitable corporations receive taxpayer assistance. Legislators in states like Iowa and Georgia are now actively reviewing or capping these incentives, reflecting a national debate on corporate welfare versus community impact. The most critical ripple is the energy crisis. The relentless expansion of AI infrastructure means the future of data centers is intrinsically tied to the future of the power grid. Utility groups across the U.S. are now modeling for data center electricity demand to rise by triple digits between 2025 and 2030. This demand shock is forcing key political and infrastructure decisions. Renewables race. Tech giants are signing power purchase agreements, PPAs, for massive renewable energy projects, solar, wind, just to power their centers, creating a competitive squeeze on available clean energy resources. Grid hardening. Federal and state governments are now under pressure to greenlight massive, costly transmission line projects, prioritizing the digital infrastructure over broader residential needs. This is a zero-sum game. Every gigawatt-hour allocated to a new data center is a gigawatt-hour that cannot be reliably used elsewhere. The social ripple is about community control. The rapid development of massive, anonymous structures changes the character of entire regions. It raises fundamental questions about who benefits and who pays in the AI economy. This powerful, hidden infrastructure is now woven into the political and economic landscape of the U.S. But where does the race finally end? So, where does this trillion-dollar arms race leave us? The data center is undeniably the digital heart of America, powering the speed of commerce, the security of finance, and the future of global AI leadership. It's the engine that keeps the U.S. competitive on the world stage. Yet, the cost is clear. This unseen infrastructure has become an energy tax on the average U.S. consumer, driving up utility bills and contributing to local resource scarcity. The political and social ripples, from controversial tax subsidies to the zero-sum battle for power grid capacity, prove that the cost of AI is being subsidized by the average American community. The data center boom is not a localized event. It is the single greatest infrastructural shift of the 2020s. This race for compute capacity, fueled by the hyperscalers and chipmakers like NVIDIA, will not slow down. Analysts predict that AI-driven electricity demand will continue to grow exponentially through 2030, forcing every U.S. state to make difficult choices about energy allocation and land use. This is a race that will ultimately define the entire digital economy, the future of AI, and whether the United States can manage the societal cost of its technological ambition. The decisions made right now, in state houses and corporate boardrooms, will determine the quality of American life for the next decade. Don't just scroll past the next news item about a new data center. Understand that it is a physical representation of the power shift happening beneath your feet. Don't get left behind. Subscribe for more insider stories about the forces reshaping America's digital future. Hit that notification bell so you can stay informed on the politics, the technology, and the true cost of the AI revolution. Thank you for watching.